Hey everybody, welcome to This Week in Twitter. Really sorry we missed last week's show. I have broken my foot and my ankle. We're like a twofer. I even went to the orthopedist last week and he said he'd never seen anybody break their foot and their ankle in this way at the same time before. Which is sort of puzzling how I did it. I just stepped off a curb with my left foot, and then I hit the ground, and then my whole body like went on top of the foot and then fell.
Oh my God.
It was very unpleasant. So very happy to be back doing the show. This is like the first or second day I've left my apartment in the last like 10 days. So I've had a lot of time on Twitter and just to hang out on the internet, which has been great. And not great at the same time, a little stir crazy. So I'm really happy to be here today. I think, you know, with so much to talk about today, there's a ton going on with Facebook, obviously, and Brizzly and Blippi, and there's a lot of crazy tech news today. And I'm also really pleased to welcome our guest today, author Seth Harwood, perhaps best known for the Jack Palm series of gritty crime novels and podcasts. Here was my favorite review quote from Amazon, if I can embarrass you, Seth, for a moment. It reads like a long-lost Mickey Spillane tale as directed by Robert Rodriguez. And if that doesn't make you kind of want to read or listen to this book, you really shouldn't be watching this show. Because that, I mean, Mickey Spillane plus Robert Rodriguez just sounds really good. So congratulations on that review. Seth also teaches writing and literature at Stanford University, where I did not get in, and the City College of San Francisco, where I probably maybe could have gotten in. I didn't apply. His latest book is Young Junius, and it's available. Am I pronouncing that right, Seth? Junius?
No, that's Young Junius.
Junius. I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce things. It should not have an umlaut or something with that. I don't know. It's available to pre-order starting May 5th. So let's please welcome Seth Harwood to the show. Thanks for joining us, Seth.
Hello. Thanks for having me on. I'm happy to be here.
We've got a ton to talk about with Seth in a bit. First, of course, we want to start off the show with the Tool of the Week. And for that, we go to our Tool of the Week, Mike Bracco.
Our Tool of the Week is, and I actually chose this because we had a previous tool, which you were not a fan of.
Federa.
Yes. Which was sort of a way of presenting you with your tweets after the fact.
Way after the fact.
Right after the fact.
Weeks after the fact.
So the tool this week is Twitter Times. So that's TWiTer.
TWiTer. So not two T's?
Hold on a second here.
Twitter Time.
TwitterTIM.es is the site.
Makes a ton of
sense. These. So
okay, I'm pulling that up right now. The Twitter Times is a real-time personalized newspaper generated from your Twitter account.
Right.
Because that's what people are crying out for now in Web 2.0.
Right.
Newspapers.
Well, it actually looks pretty good on the iPad. I did check it out there.
Oh, well, as long as it looks good on the iPad.
Okay, so what is the concept here? I'm going to sign in right now.
So basically it presents your tweets, your social graph on Twitter, in a newspaper-style format, and the way it determines what is placed there is how many of your friends have retweeted or shared that piece of content. So right below it shows you the friends, and then it shows you friends of friends that have also shared that content. And it sort of presents it what's hot based on different how recently it was tweeted or how much it was tweeted. It shows you top stuff over the course of your history. So it just presents it in sort of a nice casual newspaper type way. But what's really interesting is that you can actually look at this from any Twitter user's perspective. So you can kind of
see if that person, you can check out what is hot in their stream.
Right, so you can kind of see like what maybe they're seeing on their Twitter stream. So it's kind of interesting actually from that standpoint to look at it from other user perspectives.
I'm actually trying to use it right now and it keeps giving me OAuth issues, but I think it just got through. Oh, my newspaper will be ready in about an hour. Refresh the page.
My username because I already did it.
All right.
Just Bracco.
Bracco. Let's see what we got there. Oh, yeah, here we go. So if you want to pull up my screen, there you go. You're already on it. So it's taking, I get it. So it's not actually the tweets. It's taking the links in the videos that you've tweeted.
Right.
And it's pulling them in and making it sort of a newspaper.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually in that way almost kind of similar to what Brizzly's doing, but more ranked. Like, Brizzly's basically just taking your feed and displaying it. This is actually going through and looking at what are the hottest things, and then displaying those in order.
So it's kind of interesting. I mean, it's definitely not real time. It's not something you're going to be refreshing during the day. But just at the end of the day, maybe you want to see what what happens.
To go back, you know what it would actually be really helpful for is preparing for stuff like this show or This Week at Startups. I mean, if you wanted to do like a roundup of what was hot on Twitter this week or this day, something like this would be a little bit useful, I guess.
I was going to say, who do you think this is geared towards?
Yeah.
Who do you think this is useful to besides us?
Yeah, I think it's just one of those things that people just experiment with things. It probably didn't take them a terrible amount of time, but.
Well, you know what I'm thinking now. For somebody like Jason, our boss, or anybody who's following a ton of people, because I'm following about 1,000 people, and I feel like that's about it. I'm stretched to capacity in terms of what information I can take in during the day. So if you had like 20,000 people you were following, this might be a good way at the end of the day to make sure you didn't miss anything big.
Yeah, and you're not always checking the Twitter stream
Right.
either,
So it's possible if I
true.
took like I went to lunch or I was busy with something for an hour and I didn't check my feed and everyone was talking about, like, this morning the big thing when I checked in on Twitter was this Blippy credit card issue, which we'll talk about on This Week in Startups coming up later on this very channel. Everyone was talking about that this morning. But if I hadn't happened to check in this morning before I came here, I might have missed that, and then I'd be interested in seeing that later. So this is definitely more useful than Feedera, just because I can go look at this whenever I want, as opposed to it getting like mailed to me once a day, and then I had I had to turn it off.
And this updates every hour, I believe, so it's a little more current.
Yeah. So that's actually kind of interesting. Seth, would you read a newspaper of your tweets? That's kind of interesting. Seth, would you read a? We're getting some weird feedback in here.
No.
You wouldn't? Doesn't interest you?
Yeah, we have a delay.
I don't know that I would read that. I'm not sure.
Should I? Fair enough. I feel like it would be useful for people who are writing about Twitter or following Twitter in some way. I feel like it would be. Is that you, Seth? Do you have your volume turned up? Maybe headphones or something? Because I can hear myself coming through on your computer, I think.
Oh.
Better?
No, I can't hear you at all.
Yeah. Well, I heard him.
Is that better?
Yeah.
That's better.
Yeah.
Yes, now I can hear you. Excellent. Okay. Little mild technical issue. Yeah, I feel like if you weren't somebody who was really interested in seeing what was like hot that day necessarily at the end of the day, this really wouldn't be that useful for you.
I'm against determining what's hot based on an algorithm.
Yeah, I mean, there is something to be said for...
Trending, maybe.
I get what you're saying, but I do think there is something to be said for what gets... retweeting is kind of becoming a currency now. And
I agree.
I'm much more inclined now than I was even a month or two ago to retweet something just because I think it's interesting, as opposed to... like, I have a specific reason. Like, I used to only retweet if I was like, I want my followers to know about this thing. Like, it's politically important to me, or it has to do with something I'm promoting. Now it's just like, if I see something really funny, I will just retweet it. And it's interesting to see that I can really tell what my audience is based on, because I see how often it gets retweeted. Like, this week I sent out, there's this really amazing blog. I'm going to pull it up because it's hilarious. It's called Good Show, Sir. .co.uk. Seth, you'll like this. It's somewhat genre related. I guess it's not your genre. Your hard-boiled mystery. This is more fantasy. But it's like bad fantasy and sci-fi book covers, and then they review the cover. So if you want to pull up my screen, it's pretty funny. This one actually is not as bad as some of the other ones I was seeing the other day. Yeah, stuff like this. The Star Beast.
Wow.
So anyway, I retweeted this, and then...
I love these random things you find.
And then my audience went nuts. Like, this got retweeted the whole rest of the day. People were like, oh my god, this is hilarious. So it gave me a lot of insight, actually, into what people who are reading my tweets are also interested in, which is like, surprise, surprise, uber nerds who like fantasy novels. So that was shocking to me that would be my audience. I thought it would all be people into, jet setting to Europe and classy mixed drinks. I'm very disappointed.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
We can hear you fine, yes.
So I've got one like that's for crime fiction, actually.
Oh, really?
It's a little more up my alley. It's indiecrime.blogspot.com, INDIE crime.
I'm going to pull that up right now.
And every Wednesday, these guys, this is Nathan Kane, every Wednesday he puts up, it's called the Wednesday paperback cover, and he takes sort of these old-time pulp crime novels with sort of ridiculous covers. Some of them are funnier than others.
Yeah.
And
that one's good.
Yeah, the Marilyn Monroe one is okay. There's one down, if you scroll down, there's one called The Cosmic Eye.
There it is.
Or usually, if you can scroll all the way down, you got to see Private Chauffeur. That's pretty nice.
Private Show. Well, that's a great name. Hello Kitty Must Die is a great name for a book. Oh, here's Private Chauffeur.
Published by my publisher, Tyrus Books. I love that book.
That's a great. I haven't read that book, but it's a fantastic title. Private Chauffeur. Wow, this looks like a classic, like 50s movie poster. You know, like Detour or something.
Well, back in the day, that's what a lot of the book covers would look like. And,
Yeah.
For these pulp novels. And they're great, too, because they always have sort of a really sort of alluring catchphrase. So this one is like, what did he have that every woman wanted?
Who knows what evil lurks in the hearts of men?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's usually some pretty... Here's one on the next page called The Nazarene. That looks pretty weird. So, yeah, he's always got some good stuff there on the indie crime blog.
Yeah, that's cool. I like that. I like the really specific blogs. I almost feel like the more specific you really get down your topic, the better experience the blog is in some ways. Like my favorite.
In some ways, I think everything on the net is all about us sort of developing our niche and making that a part of something that people can look for.
Right, and that's the interesting thing about what's happened sort of in culture with the net is like the skinny part of the tail. There's so much more. It used to be that if you were interested in stuff like 50s crime novels, there would be like 20 other people in your town who also liked it,
right.
And you'd have to like bust your ass to go find them and then hang out with them and like nerd out together. And now it's 2 seconds of a Google search and you can find people all over the world who are interested in the same thing. So it's really like those of us who are into stuff on the skinny part of the tail. Korean horror movies or something, where it's like when I got into those.
Really
basically the internet really enables us to nerd out a lot more.
Yes, it's nerding out is way out of control. I'm sure nerding out is up like 800% over the last 5 years or something. It's probably getting dangerous.
And that's what Twitter is too, to an extent. It's like, if you like the same nerdy things that I do, I mean, yeah, it seems like I will sort of post things that just kind of pique my interest. And if you like some of those things, we can kind of nerd out together over them. But I got to admit, my interests on Twitter can sometimes be pretty random.
Yeah, random is good on Twitter.
I think like we get from mainstream entertainment and media the classic things that are blanket topics that they know everybody's going to like, which is why they're in mainstream media, right? But the truth is that like individual people, every individual person does have these like niche interests.
Yeah.
And there's no place for them to talk about them and share about them, and the internet is the perfect place for that.
Right, and it's not mutually exclusive. I mean, I can't wait to see Iron Man 2, like everyone else. And yet, at the same time...
I'm like, what?
You don't care about Iron Man 2? No. Okay, well, I like that. I want to see that.
Too.
But at the same time, I'm, just as interested in the really, like, crazy, obscure, like, Birdemic, which is currently playing at the Silent Movie Theater Friday nights at midnight. If you're in L.A., go see Birdemic, Shock and Terror. It's playing every Friday night at the Silent Movie Theater.
I can't wait for that.
Astounding.
I want to go see the
astounding.
Banksy movie.
The which one?
The Banksy movie.
Oh, the Banksy.
I
Now, is that
haven't seen it.
they're saying that that's a hoax movie, that it's a fake
It's not
documentary.
what you think. Yeah. But of course, that's how
Because
it
it's
should
Banksy,
be. Yeah.
right, it would make
I
sense.
really want to go see that.
Yeah, no, I'd like to see that too. All right, we're
It's
getting
all what you're talking about, like that short
We'll
end
tweet
of the
about
tail.
right. All of that is like skinny end of the tail. I mean, you got Iron Man 2 and Justin Bieber on one end of the tail,
goodness
and then the
gracious.
skinny end of the tail is where the really interesting, weird, I spit upon your grave stuff goes, and it's only like right there. Fantastically awful movie for any.
When is
cult film
Justin
fans.
Bieber not trending?
Justin Bieber is always trending. It's true. And
Who is Justin Bieber? I don't know, and I don't want to know. Please don't answer that question.
oh, really? You really don't want to know?
I really don't want to know.
Okay,
Good
we
for
won't.
you.
We won't talk
I
about it.
respect that.
All I'm just gonna say, there's now one less lonely girl, and that's a good thing.
Oh my
It's
God.
a good
I've seen him on
thing.
the cover of People magazine, and that.
I think he's on the cover of every. I think he's on the cover of like Foreign Affairs this month. I think it's every magazine with Justin Bieber. They can't get enough again, and he's so young. That's what makes it creepy.
Yeah.
Okay, we're way off topic now. I'm gonna pull it back. I'm gonna pull it back.
He's so young,
You have
and then
another
he
Justin Bieber comment?
Well, because he's so young, and then he hits on like these grown women,
Well,
which
all
is
the
so
songs.
like.
I'm inadvertently telling Seth who Justin Bieber is, but all of the
I'm
songs
not
that he sings-
Googling Justin Bieber right now.
He's like this 16-year-old kid. He started on YouTube singing songs, and now he's got a record contract, and he's like the biggest act in the world. And all the songs are like, girl, you and me, we're gonna get down tonight. It's like, you're like 15. This is just wrong.
Yeah.
It's like, I hope, you know, and the girls they cast in the videos too are like 20-something
26-year-olds.
models. It's like, this is just, I think this is illegal. I'm not even sure. Anyway, so that's my thoughts on, look for This Week in Justin Bieber next week on this network. TWiJV. You know, I don't want Leo Laporte to feel like we're stepping on his toes with that. I don't. He might have a Justin Bieber show coming up. So
you guys following him on Twitter or what?
Justin Bieber?
Yeah.
I follow Justin
no.
Bieber on Twitter. Yes, I
don't.
do.
Sorry.
I have a few spots on Twitter for like celebrities that I follow ironically. Diddy. I follow Diddy, Kirstie Alley. Kirstie Alley.
Too much.
If you guys don't follow Kirstie Alley on Twitter, you are all.
I have a love-hate relationship with her Twitter.
All missing out because
I follow her, then I unfollow her. Sometimes it's disturbing. Like
she's not. She's obviously like on some sort of medication she's on like a mood roller coaster.
Isn't that the point of her show or something? I follow The Real Shaq. I'm a big fan of his
Yes,
tweets.
I follow The Real Shaq as well. He's great. And I love like when he meets up with people who know him from Twitter and he always like comments on it. Like, the next person who recognizes me from Twitter, give me a high five. And then he'll like report back that it happened. Like, I like that stuff.
I haven't seen that.
Anybody who's telling a story through their tweets, I sort of enjoy. But yeah, Kirstie Alley, definitely 2 thumbs up on the Twitter feed. It's like a novel. It's like reading a novel, her tweets.
It's like reading a psychological...
Not necessarily, I mean, not necessarily a linear novel, more like Under the Volcano or something.
On a literary end, I can tell you guys that some people are really afraid that the novel is going to turn into people's tweets or that novels are going to start happening in 140 characters or less.
Well, there was a guy doing that, right? Wasn't there like a guy trying to write a novel on Twitter and you had to like... each tweet would just move the story forward like just a little bit. I don't remember who.
I think every bestseller in Japan has done that in the past couple of years.
It seems like it would be tough to follow that for a whole book. And also, if you miss 1 or 2, you're like lost now. And
but if you just go to that guy's Twitter page, then you could read the whole
You
thing.
really have to archive the whole stream because Twitter doesn't keep the old tweets enough. I've gone looking for tweets from like 2 weeks ago, and they're gone.
Yeah.
At times.
It also seems like it'd be annoying to go read a novel on like a Twitter page and read it in reverse order, and it's not really. I don't think novel to Twitter is ideal.
I also tend to really stay away from comments like, this is going to replace that or make this or that obsolete. In a rare instance, maybe, if some major breakthrough happens in technology, like this changes the face of whatever. But usually, I mean, there's always going to be books. Are we always going to read them on paper? No, not necessarily. But there's always going to be people who want to sit down and read a story. Less and less. And I think, one thing that concerns me actually, and I was working on a blog post about this last night, is we're getting so used to the micro. Our attention span is shifting.
Yeah.
And even myself, I sit down to read a book and I find myself getting distracted quicker than I usually do. And
yeah, I think I've definitely noticed that too, that I've always been a big reader, and now I probably read as much or more actual text now than I ever have in my life in a given day. But yeah, it's always jumping around and clicking through, and it's never just a page of text like I used to be. And I used to be able to read like a whole novel in a day or two.
Yeah.
And now I really can't. I've lost that ability.
If you compare that to television, it's kind of like the Uber MTV generation. I mean, even more than you can flip through the channels, we flip around on the internet like crazy, just going from one thing to another, just tiny pieces. I mean, if I could sort of talk about that from a literary sense a little bit, it's like, we read a lot on our screens, but, we don't really want to read a whole novel on our screens. It's hard to read something much longer than, sort of like the newspaper article is the longest thing that we can go for. And so some people are doing really good stuff with publishing short stories on the web.
Yeah.
But, through the podcasting, what I've been able to do is podcast or put out MP3s of the story of a novel in serialized form so that people can take it and go away from their computer and listen to it and digest it in their driving or gym time or normal lives.
And that's really fascinating to think about these serialized novels sort of making a comeback, because that's almost taking it back over 100 years to like the Victorian era. Like Dickens novels were, would come out in like little segments and people would follow them that way. So it's sort of fascinating
Dickens,
that we're almost getting back to that. Yeah. Like
definitely the digital Dickens. And also if you go back
are you really? It's all orphans and stuff?
Yeah. Well, if you go back further in my genre, it was all about the little pulp novels, which were printed on this really inexpensive paper.
Right.
And so now, we can do things online for zero cost, and it's sort of just it's sort of the same principle getting brought back to where we can put things out and give people something that they want, which is the story, for free or for as little cost as possible.
Yeah, it's really interesting.
Different medium. It's all ones and zeros now. You guys know that.
Yes. Well, I don't know how to code it, but I'm aware on some level it's all ones and zeros.
You're aware.
So let's move on to the tip of the week before we get too crazily distracted. My tip this week, and this is after I really came up with this just looking at a lot of different Twitter accounts and think about it. Like, I think we should talk about the bio, your Twitter bio, because I think a lot of people screw this up, especially if you want to use your profile to sort of market yourself or build
network.
a community or network. A lot of people tend to get real jokey in their bio. A couple principles I think that most people should follow. And I think Seth has a really interesting bio. I'm going to go pull that up.
I'm checking it right now, actually, to see if it needs to get changed.
Well, all your bio is right now is about the new book that I mispronounced.
I like that.
Right. I like that too. And if you look at it here, it's like, pre-order your young Junius or
Junius. Junius Pons is the name of the character.
Oh, okay. I'm going to think Orange Julius. That's going to be how I'm going to remember. Please order your young Junius special edition on May 5th. So that is, if you're going here, it's very clear. 1, I'm an author. 2, here's my newest work. Check it out. And
now I just added a link. You can add links in there, can't you?
Well, you can add links in the web area. Can you add links in the bio itself?
You can, they're just not hyperlinked.
Yeah, it's like not
you can put a link in there, but right, people would have to copy and paste it. But anyway, it's so succinct, it's so concise. It tells the person looking at this, exactly what you want them to see. And I think a lot of people tend to get caught up. This is probably a holdover from the MySpace, Facebook, social media thing where they want to put tons of just personal info, and I wanted to let you know who I am.
I was born on a mountaintop.
So a couple of the sort of principles that I was thinking of is you definitely want to, if you're promoting something, you want to make it really clear. You want to give people who you are. Like, what do you do? Even if you don't do anything, let them know, I don't really do anything.
What's your focus on Twitter? What are you trying to get out there?
And what are they going to get out of this experience? A lot of Twitter bios, I think, it's jokey, it's abstract. I think Alana actually has a really interesting bio as well.
I change it all the time.
But you have your tagline, amused. And then you have Pixel Pimp, which honestly, if we're being totally honest, I would probably get rid of. It's a little extraneous.
I like that.
But then you have, everything else is super quick, punchy, and it's basically like your resume. Mm-hmm. Like, here's what I'm on, here's what I work on, here are my blogs, and it's like boom, 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 boom. It's almost like reading your CV. And that, to me, I think is perfect, and that's what I want when I'm looking at somebody's account. The one other thing I'll bring up, and this may be controversial, so let me know if you disagree with that. I feel like there's 3 things that you should absolutely always avoid in your bio, unless this is your job or something. Politics, religion, and like your personal credo or words to live by. Because it's like if you are nuts, if you love the Lord, or if you worship Karl Rove, or if you read Deepak Chopra every day, like I'm gonna get that from your stream, and I just don't. You're gonna turn people off. You're gonna start crap with people before they even have a chance to read what you think. And I mean, I read a lot of these where it's like, dad, husband, Jesus lover, tea partier, and it's like that guy's like starting an argument with me before I even read a tweet.
Calm down, I'm just trying to.
But that's also part of that short tail that you're talking about. It's like that dude is looking out for like maybe his family and relatives on Twitter.
Right.
You're not going to be a follower of his.
Yeah, but some of those people, like, I'll see that bio, and then you'll go down their thing, and they have a website they want you to visit, or they have a show that they do that they want you to listen to, and it's like.
That's messed up.
It's like, you know, man, like I'm not saying don't believe whatever you want or even tweet about whatever you like. I mean, if your tweets are offensive or I don't like them or I'll unfollow you, that's fine. But in the bio, you really it's almost like your elevator pitch to people like, hey, here's why you want to follow me. And
but, you know, the point that Alana made that I think is really good is that you can keep changing these things. I mean, like we constantly post on Twitter, but you have things on there that are static, like your picture or your bio, and I think, you know, we sort of lose an opportunity if we're not taking the chance to keep changing those all the time so that we can publicize new things. I mean, one of the things that I'm doing right now that I stole from another podcast novelist, J.C. Hutchins, is I'm sort of doing like a Twitter avatar campaign where I have these avatars that I made that are these little pictures of the Young Junius release, different things about the cover or stuff like that, and I'm getting my followers to put them on their pictures. So if you go over to SethHarwood.com right now, you'll see like these little 8 avatar options. And yesterday, a lot of people were posting them up on their Twitter profiles. And that seems to be really fun. Like when I go on TweetDeck and I see all these people with my pictures on their profiles and on their posts, it's pretty fun. Even though a lot of people get confused and think, oh, that's Seth Harwood posting, and it's not. Yeah, so there are those pictures. And it's been pretty cool to see people picking some of those and sticking them on their profiles.
Yeah, I've actually seen one or two. I think I've seen this one in the wild already with the character right there. I don't know. I'm sort of two minds with that because I like changing up my profile picture now and again just because you like to keep it updated. You want to keep things fresh. But every single time I do it, I get angry replies back like, why did you change your picture? Now I can't find your stuff. Yeah.
No way.
Like, I kind of like get like a stream of like, oh, hot new pic.
Yeah.
So as a
Well,
side,
you're hot. I don't get hot new pics.
As a side, there is somebody who follows me who has repeatedly let me know that they have a folder of all of my pics.
Creepy.
And I'm not sure how to
Don't use Foursquare. Don't
deal
check
with
in
that.
places.
Like,
That's a
it's like
stalker situation there.
Yeah, that's creepy.
Thank you, I think, but like really, like I've never done that, and there's people I think are hot on Twitter, and I don't do that.
Yeah,
You should tell them that you heart them.
Yeah.
No, I was going to say, I'm a little OCD, so I always have to have the same picture and bio on all my social media accounts. So, like, if I decide to change Twitter, I have to change, like...
That's kind of smart, though.
Yeah, I mean, I just try to keep it consistent.
But does your Facebook and your Twitter, like, you know, because Facebook you'd think you change out all the time.
Yeah, I still the same picture on
Really?
Facebook, which I'm thinking
I like
about changing.
switching these things. I think that's another opportunity for you to sort of... I mean, we put out information in our stream, but it's fun to also tweak these things that seem static so that you're not always giving people the same picture. I mean, you know, if I have that picture of myself with the samurai helmet on for like the next 2 years, you know, the joke kind of gets worn out.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think it's a balance. You don't want to be too schizo with it, and people will lose track of you. I also once, as a joke, I put a picture of Kevin Smith as my avatar instead of me because I get, you know, people always make that comment that I look like him, and that really bothered people.
Jason had Jay-Z for a while.
Jason had Jay-Z.
And he
Well, he was going through all of the J's,
like at me, and I thought for a split second, I was like, oh, no way.
Jay-Z's on
Jacob
me.
Man
Oh my
totally
God.
tweeted me. This is awesome.
Yeah,
I'm
people
like,
were really
it's
upset. They were like, stop tweeting as Kevin Smith. And it's like, I'm not saying I am. It wasn't like filming Clerks
I'll
3.
change your
A
name.
week on Facebook that it seems like everyone got confused by that.
Yeah. I think everybody's sort of a different mind about that. The one other thing I wanted to say about your bio, 3 more words I think everybody should
Please say it.
leave
I'm hoping that you say
out
it.
of their bio. Speaker, social media consultant, trainer, ninja, anything with like social media, like I'm kick ass at social media, I'm a ninja, like
Well,
And the last one is CEO, unless you are actually a CEO of a company I have heard of.
CEO.
Like if you're the CEO of a big company,
Alana Joy Corp.
then yes, put CEO. Like okay, CEO of Earthlink, fine, that's a real company or a real CEO. But like, yeah, it's always like CEO of like Jetpack Corp,
Yeah, no.
and it's like, no, that's not a real. If I look that
President
up,
of SethHarwood.com.
yeah, like no, but legitimately people do stuff like that where it's like their
I know.
CEO and then you look it up and they're CEO of like their own blog, and it's like, well,
Well,
everybody's a CEO.
I think the social media thing is funnier in that it's like, you know, all these people are tweeting that they're these social media gurus, and it's like essentially they're tweeting that their social media, the content of their social media guru-ness is saying that they're a social media guru, which is sort of circular and redundant.
Yeah, and to me, if you're a good marketer, you are bright and intelligent and creative enough to come up with another way to say that. Like Pixel Pimp. Thank you very much.
Like Pixel Pimp.
I say Pixel Pimp because I market, I design, I blog, I do everything. I am pimping out those pixels.
Yeah,
that's okay.
I get it. I get it. I'm just saying it feels extraneous, and the rest of your bio is so like tight and exactly what you do.
Pixel Pimp makes me think that you're gonna have a webcam or something. Like that.
Yeah, that's the other thing is the first time I read it too, I was like, does she make video games or what is going on with that? This is a little bit.
Maybe I should keep the phrase but put it elsewhere. But yeah,
maybe at the bottom.
But to me, it's like, if that's really what you do and that's really what you are, you don't have to say so. There's something I've always said, famous doesn't have to say so. If you're really it, you don't have to say so.
No, it's obvious. I'll read it and I'll be like, this guy has a lot of interesting insights about social media. Fair enough.
Well, it's like, or if you look at my stream, you can see that I'm constantly pimping everything that I do. So I don't need to say that I'm pimping everything that I do.
Right, you don't need to call attention to it. The other thing is most people that I look at who have like social media expert in their bio, they then have like 300 followers. And it's like, no, you're not, obviously.
Well,
because
and I also
you'd be better and you'd be doing better at this.
The people who are calling themselves guru very seldom have actual work. So, I mean, it's
Except
like that you're doing it wrong.
Gangstar and we're
talking about social media gurus,
so
not like hip-hop gurus. But
not hip-hop gurus.
Absolutely agree.
Social media gurus. So yeah, I think I'll
the passing of the guru. That was like for this week in Facebook for me. That was like the big news,
Twitter
and
too.
I'm still sort of crushed by it a little.
Yeah, no, and it was so because he did not tell anybody he
so
was
young.
Sick. Nobody knew he was sick. It was so sudden.
It wasn't like
he
a month
pass
or two
into
ago.
a coma a couple of months ago.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah,
I missed
he was
that
in the
entirely.
hospital, and then there was a rumor that he had actually passed, but he hadn't. But he was in the hospital, and then. Yeah, this time.
Yeah, that was tough to hear.
It's terrible.
Yeah, that was sad news. All right, so with that, let's move on to the news with Mike Bracco. Turning this into an NPR segment, which is why we have that sound.
Yeah. So we didn't have a show last week, and at the end of last week was the big your accident. Were you tweeting by the way when you
fell?
tripped?
I was I was speaking on the phone. I was not because I know I saw the girl last year who was texting and then fell into the sewer. So you didn't? There was like an open manhole, and this teen is walking down the street and she's texting and she doesn't notice and she falls into the sewer.
You're kidding.
She's fine. But they were going to sue the city, and it's like, well, it's they shouldn't have an open manhole.
There should have been like a cone or something, but still watch where you walk.
No, right. So I knew not to do that. I was literally just talking. I got a phone call like right over there, and I walked out front to take the call, and then.
Domain Noob says, "Can we get an ankle cutaway?"
You want an ankle? Can we do an ankle shot, guys? I don't know. Can we get a camera there? I can hold it up like that. Yeah, so you can see I'm all splinted up. It's still too swollen. They can't put a cast on because the swelling is still too extreme. It sucks. And anytime even that was like a little, but like anytime I really like hit it against something,
did they at least give you medication?
Brutal
for pain.
They did. They gave me Vicodin and lots of it. But you have to be careful with that stuff because even a week of using it, you start to. Like as soon as you
I'll
don't
just take 3.
Well, as soon as you don't use it after you've been using it, I use it I use it exactly as directed by the bottle. I don't take like 5 at a time and then wash it down with like Jim Beam or anything. But even that, just 1 or 2 a day, after like a week and then you go off of them, all of a sudden the pain is like you feel worse because you're used to not feeling it at all. Like a little bit of pain is sort of good because you get used to it. So anyway. That's the ankle.
Lots of jokes I'm not going to make right now. Okay.
Talking about the lamp falling down in the sewer, which you mentioned, the texting. I have to have you pull up something real quick. Do just a Google search on padded lamp posts.
Padded lamp posts.
And the first result from Engadget. Absolutely hilarious. You have to check this out.
For distracted texters. Right. If you see this, in case you're using Twitter on the street, they actually have buffers for you. I mean, I think we all have come to terms with. I see people in traffic like texting while they're driving, and it's like you're an idiot if you do that. I think we all know. But walking and talking on a phone, I really didn't think was that bad, to be honest. Like,
you got to go hands free with that.
I was a little, I just was not paying attention, looking where I was going, and it honestly, like the angle and everything. I mean, it was the worst possible thing I could have done. One like degree off, and I would have been okay. So that was just me being dopey. And I apologize for missing the show. But anyway, so yes, we missed the show last week.
So the end of last week was the Chirp conference, which is Twitter's first official conference. And they announced a ton of different things. A couple new aspects on their site, dev.twitter.com, which is for developers, which is actually where a lot of these announcements were posted. But the big announcement was promoted tweets, which is their unveiling of their business model. So they'll have basically a system in place where people wishing to promote their tweets and pay for it get to select specific tweets and then the keywords, hashtags that they want to promote those for. Mm-hmm. And basically, Twitter decides which promoted tweets to place based on resonance, which is some secret sauce they have for determining which promoted tweets to place.
Yeah, so I mean, at first they're doing it in search, and then obviously they'll move it into the regular sort of feed that you're seeing. And I'm wondering how it's going to work with third-party apps.
It will be integrated with third-party apps and actually get a revenue share for any ads clicked.
I mean, it seems like it's just a way for them to make money, right?
Yeah, I mean, they've got to have one, right? So far, all they're making money on is they have deals with the search engines that they can pull in Twitter results, and they gave them like a flat fee for that. But that's obviously not going to sustain Twitter as a company forever. So they have to do something like this. I got to be honest, as long as it's like Google ads where I can tell that it's an ad, it really doesn't bug me. It bugs me way more these services where people like tweet ads from their own account. Like that bothers me. When it's like I'm reading and I think it's an Alana Joy tweet and then it's like, hey, I really like this Bose sound system. And then I see, oh, that's an ad.
Well, see, now what if that person, the focus of their
sound
stream is on electronics or something like that? Then would you say that
if it's an ad,
if they're actually handpicking the things that they post, or do you still feel like
I don't like it because it looks it's too hard to distinguish because it's got your picture on it and it's got your name. It's too hard to distinguish for an individual. If it's like obviously a company tweet anyway, because that's what this would be. It's like Starbucks does a tweet like, "Everybody come try our new Pike Place roast," and then they just sponsor it so it shows up.
Starbucks there.
What?
Good plug for Starbucks.
Yeah, well, hey, it's delicious. Not really, it's burned.
Coffee bean for the win.
but just an example, because I think Best Buy, Starbucks, Virgin America, and like there's one other.
There's a handful of companies.
There's like only 4 or 5 companies that are going to be in the pilot program doing this. It really doesn't. I saw a lot of people that were sort of outraged, like, well, this is it for Twitter, and I'm not going to use this anymore. And where's going to be the service that's going to let me get rid of the ads? And like it's free, and I do think that anytime you offer a service like this, where it's free but there's ads, there should be the option to pay to get rid of the ads. Like I would probably pay a couple bucks a month.
That's the premium service.
Right, I would pay for Twitter Pro or whatever, and
here's $2 a month. Don't spam my stream.
That's actually it's not Twitter news, but it's Hulu news this week. Hulu's talking about this $9.95 subscription service where you'd get like 4 episodes of Modern Family, but then you can watch all of them if you pay $9.95 a month. I would totally do that.
Now, but here's my question: why would you do that when on Netflix you can spend $9 and watch unlimited streaming on your computer plus get a DVD?
I would do both. I mean, if you think about it, well, I already do Netflix. I already pay, and Netflix is like amazing. I mean, groundbreaking. I don't see like $20 a month for all of that entertainment content, and Hulu's got a lot of stuff that Netflix doesn't, and vice versa. That's what 2 movies.
Do you have cable on top of that?
I do, but I feel like I'm 98% of the way to not needing to have cable anymore.
Trying to get there.
Really, HBO.
I feel like iTunes is constantly iTunes has been selling TV shows for a long time. I've never bought a TV show on there. Have you guys?
I didn't watch Lost the first 3 seasons, and everybody would tell me, don't start watching it in the middle because you're not going to even understand, and so I was, kind of on that whole thing. And then I ended up borrowing the first season on DVD from my friend and got so hooked in that I bought the seasons on iTunes and then got caught up. So
I bought Dexter. I've watched Dexter on iTunes because I don't get Showtime, and that would be a solution. I mean, I could probably, if I started watching the HBO shows I really like on iTunes,
You don't need to pay for that.
I basically wouldn't need cable anymore. Because I at this point, even the channels I get, I end up watching the shows on
HBO,
Hulu.
Showtime.
You could
Hulu
wait
anyway.
and just get it on Netflix once the DVDs are released.
Yeah, that's true. That's true too. Like Dexter, I know is on Netflix now. So yeah, I mean,
you have to wait,
I
and then
feel
everybody's talking about the new episode. And
I
you're
feel like I'm 90% of the way to not needing cable anymore at all, and it's all better and easier to find on online. But my real point is
on cable though. I still don't have a way to watch live sports other than having stupid cable channels.
yeah, I don't
Don't they
care
stream
about that.
games?
Only some games are streamed, but a lot of them aren't.
Yes, a lot aren't. You know, and they keep talking about like, oh, there's going to be all these like there's going to be 3D TV and everybody's going to need that, but
They're out already.
I don't really see the appeal of like the first thing they broadcast in 3D was the Masters, which is like, I got to see golf in 3D. It seems like it's not going to be that.
You're like, oh my god.
It's not exactly Avatar.
I mean, it seems like there's already too many movies in 3D all of a sudden.
Oh,
that's annoying.
there are
When you're
definitely
sitting
too
at home
many
with those
movies in
glasses
3D.
on my head.
Yeah,
Well, and some of it's a fail too. Like Alice in Wonderland, the 3D was like.
I didn't see that one, but yeah, well, because there's some movies that are made to be 3D, and then there's some movies that
after
are.
Avatar blew up, it seems like Clash of the Titans and Alice in Wonderland just like redigitized some quick 3D fix or something.
That's exactly what happened. They actually have a process now where they can take movies shot in 2D and make it 3D, but it doesn't really work that well.
Yeah,
When you see one, you're like, this is obviously not how it was supposed to look.
I think you guys should do that with this show. Like after you've broadcasted live, send it to those people.
My
and
like
you can make the whole thing 3D.
my broken foot coming
through
out
the
of your
screen.
monitor at you.
Totally.
Well, let's get to some of the questions I have for Seth Harwood because we're
Get
running
to
low
me.
on time already.
know.
We keep getting so distracted. So here's the 5. We always start with the same 5 questions for every guest. So we'll run through them really quick. What is your favorite way to access or use Twitter?
TweetDeck.
TweetDeck. You don't find it too busy? I just find it so busy. It's hard to concentrate on anything else when TweetDeck's going on.
Nope. I don't have any of the sounds, and so I'll just like pull up the window, look at it for a minute, put it away.
Well, fair enough. Favorite Twitter account other than your own, obviously.
Scott Sigler.
Scott's a former guest on this show. He was on episode 2. Episode
Scott
2.
Sigler and I teach this class together called Author Bootcamp.
Author boot. What is that like? How to be an author in 3 weeks?
No, it's more like, it goes beyond just the Twitter, but it's like sort of, basically we're social media gurus for authors.
Oh, great! Yes. So
Ninja.
forget everything I said. Social media ninjas or
put out
whatever.
their actual. I think it's different when you're putting out actual content. So the content that we'll put out or teach authors to put out is their actual fiction or nonfiction, and we show them how to do it as a podcast. Getting back to the serialized idea that I was talking to you about before.
So that's interesting. So it's really like for people who are already authors, and we're going to teach you how to take what you're doing and build an audience online for it.
Right, exactly. I mean, a lot of people want to know how to blog and stuff like that, but a lot of authors think that for their blogs, they need to blog about what is writing or what's going on in publishing or come up with some additional topic. And so we show them how they can take their actual writing, put it into their blog, create a blog, and even put it out as, serialized audio. I mean, I'm all about the MP3 audiobook podcasts. I put out my books for free. I've done 5 books now. Young Junius is on my website, all free as audio, and it'll be free as text when the book comes out. I think we show them the tools to actually let an online audience interact with their work as opposed to just interacting with their personality. I mean, nobody cares about XYZ author just as like someone who tweets and stuff like that. But if you can start giving the person your book and the writing that you've done, if you can give that to them free, particularly in a way that they can digest it, like with audio.
It's all like with audio, but
I think we got him back.
yay. Okay.
You're
You
back.
lost my audio?
You cut out for a second.
Ugh.
Sorry. So how filtered or transparent are you when you're talking about your work online, especially when you're talking about like the specifics of what you're writing? I mean, do you give away spoilers? Are you afraid that you're going to like blow the experience of actually reading the work for people by talking about it so much on your Twitter?
No, I give them the actual work. I mean, basically, so I'll write the whole book and then give them the whole thing. For Twitter, I use it more to sort of promote the episodes, let them know when a new episode is out, let them know when I'm working on a new blog post or something. But, on my website, what I'll give them is the actual book. And then if they like it, I'll encourage them to talk about it on their tweet stream, on their Facebook, tell their friends about it in the real world, and encourage them to buy it. And by doing that, that's given me a platform, an audience, and led to now I'm on my second book deal.
Wow. So talk a little bit more about, I'm going to get away from the 5 questions because this is more interesting. Talk about, like, what's the most important thing to do if you want to build a community around your work? I mean, obviously, once you've already got a lot of fans, you can tell them, like, hey, put this avatar on, or tweet that this episode is out. But, like, when you're new to the web and you're just trying to start building an audience for what you've written, like, what is sort of the secret sauce, or what would be your biggest tip for, like, just how to find people and how to let them know, here's who I am, here's what I'm doing, you guys should check it out?
Well, I'm a big fan. Well, one of the things is that when you find other authors online through websites like audiobooks.com or Crime Space or these other, the short tail stuff that you're talking about, there's also a lot of really good communities online that you can interact with who will help you talk to people about your stuff. But I think, the mistake that people make is that they go out with sort of this talky stuff and this, this is what I'm about, listen to me tell you who I am, as opposed to just giving people the actual text. I think the number one piece of advice that I would give people is, you've written a book, you're excited about it, you think it's good. Don't just tell people that. Give people your actual book. There's nothing to be lost by letting them actually experience what you've written. Cory Doctorow said the biggest problem for writers today is obscurity, not piracy.
Yeah, so, I mean, how much success have you had in terms of you're giving it away for free and then people are still buying it after the fact, or buying, like, the hardcover version? Or, I mean, is that a concern? Do you make enough just on, like, merch and other stuff to keep it going, or?
Well, so my first book came out with a small press. I had the people rush Amazon, and we hit #1 in crime fiction on Amazon. It was like me, James Patterson. And I'm sure that you've probably heard of the Scott Sigler model and the success that he had.
Yeah.
So that led for me to get a contract with Random House. The book came out again. Now Young Junius is coming out with Tyrus Books in the fall. And what we're doing that's really cool is kind of using the Sigler model that he's used with the Rookie and the Starter. We, in the fall, will have a hardcover edition, a trade paperback edition, but now we're also putting together a special edition really for the fans, this one that I'm talking about and promoting on Twitter, where it'll come out on May 5th. It's only available online as a pre-order, and it's going to have special art that was designed by some of the fans. It's going to be a nicer version of the book, fancier paper, fancier covers, and we're doing that to partner with the fans and the publisher to sell some books and also raise some of the money that we'll use for the print run of the whole thing.
So it's almost like the DVD deluxe edition, like you give away the regular version, and then, but if you want all the bells and whistles special features, you buy this other edition.
Well, I mean, yeah, but also now that I have this platform and this fan base, these guys want a really cool bells and whistles kind of version. So I say, hey, let's do this.
It's almost what the music industry kind of does. New artists will do is they'll put out like a mixtape and then give the mixtape away for free. And there's familiar kind of samples from other people's songs in there.
Right.
And then once you've built up a fan base of your work, then you put out your original album and
like
you're like, boom.
The Drake philosophy, whatever.
Absolutely, or you look at Radiohead putting up their whole album for free, and they got more people to buy that album than any of their previous ones.
Interesting. All right,
essentially, so you can look at it as basically free publicity. Instead of paying for advertising space or paying for ads, you give people your content for free and then allow that to evangelize for you.
See, it's like the building of content is the way of like forging that relationship. It's like people are going to give you a shot because you're just giving them a chance to read it for nothing, letting them sort of take a risk. They don't have to take the risk of shelling out $15 to find out if they like it, and then you almost get like that increased brand loyalty from them. Like, well, you gave it to me for free.
It's like you're their friend or they know you, and also the more people you get to try it, the more people are going to like it and start to help you out.
If you're any good, basically, yeah. That would be the other.
You're going to get more people to. Even if you suck and you give it to 1,000 people, you're going to find some people who really like. Not that I'm advocating writers to suck, but
I am. We need more sucky writers.
Well, no, we don't.
I was just going to mention.
Sucky writers are the ones who are already getting published by the big companies.
Oh, James Patterson, he's never going to get over that slight.
No, I was just going to mention he just made 1,000 fans. There's a great article actually that Tim Ferriss pointed me to a while back. 1,000 true fans.
If you have 1,000 fans and they have to spend $100 a year on you to make that system work. His philosophy is if you get 1,000 hardcore fans and they're willing to spend $100 a year, you've made $100,000 and you don't need big distribution or whatever.
Yeah, if you do a search for 1,000 true fans on Google, the first result, Kevin Kelly wrote a great post on this. Is kind of interesting.
I've always thought the flaw in that, though, is that I mean, I definitely see what he's saying in terms of building fans, and I feel like even me on a very small scale, because I do these shows, like I've got a few sort of true fans that if I put stuff out and was asking them for money, people would probably pay a few bucks. $100 a year, though, seems like a high threshold.
I think
like,
sort of if my model that I'm looking at right now is probably more along the lines of if I can get 400 to 500 fans and get them to spend like $35 a year, then I'm in a place where that can really make things happen for me.
Yeah, well, I mean, and then you're
also supplementing other things that you do,
right?
And you're teaching, and
you're not relying on that 100% for income. I just like that. It's that Tim Ferriss makes that leap to the $100 a year. Like, man, there's very few things I'm a big enough fan of to spend $100 a year on. Like, Apple fanboys drop that much on Apple stuff, obviously.
But you're not going to get You're not going to get $100 a year from people or 1,000 fans right off the bat. I mean, it's always a situation where you have to build to get to it.
But yeah, I mean, even if you were
in on Twitter and all of a sudden have 200,000 followers, you got to just build to get up there.
Yeah, and patience is a big part of that. If you come in right away and are like, I just got to follow everybody and get everywhere and have everybody see me all at once, you're going to have a crummy Twitter feed and nobody's going to care. It's going to be obvious.
It's about the sincerity and being genuine. I mean, if you're out there and you're really interacting with people, I mean, Chris Brogan talks about this a lot. Like, if you're just genuinely like a decent guy and you talk to people and actually interact instead of just sort of like carpet bomb and blanket people, I think that's the real difference there.
So how hard is it for you to keep up with your, you've got over 2,000 followers. How hard is it to keep up with them and their conversation? I mean, do you respond every time somebody replies you, or do you try to?
Well, that's one of the things that I like about TweetDeck is that if people at me or direct message me, I can see it, or if people mention my name in a thing, I can have that search set up. And it's actually not that hard to just scroll through maybe once a day or twice a day and just look at when people have mentioned me. I'll get a ton of these on Follow Friday that I don't really do much with. But if people mention me, it's pretty easy to just sort of throw them back a tweet and be like, hey, thanks, or comment on what they had to say. And especially if people mention me that I don't know or I'm not following, it's really easy to follow them. And then, they become a part of the conversation, or I can listen to what else they say.
Do you appreciate the feedback on your actual work from the people who follow you, or do you not really let that taint your natural creative flow, I guess?
No, I love it. I love the feedback. And, it's not like I'm workshopping my stuff or I'm giving it to my best friend to read or something like that. Like, the people out there who follow me and get into my stuff are genuinely fans. And so, it used to be a situation where I would, a writer would wait for them to write a letter or write an email. And now, whatever method of online interaction that the fan is most comfortable with, whether it's Facebook messages or Facebook page posts or tweets, I'm down with hearing positive feedback or any kind of feedback from them on any channel. And it's just a great chance to interact with them. And like I said, it's that genuine interaction that really is a big part of what I do, and something that I get from the fans, and I like interacting with them, and I think they appreciate being able to get in touch with me and hear back in a real way.
It's probably the most honest feedback, too, because they're not your friends, so they're not going to be like, oh, yeah, it was great, I loved your book.
There's definitely going to be some sycophants, but there's probably going to be some honest people, too.
My friends are the ones that are too honest. I like the people online, because if they don't like my stuff, they're just going to go away and stop following. The ones who actually stick around are the ones who really like what I'm doing, which is great.
I got criticized this week on this show for saying I was too loud.
Oh my!
Yeah, somebody said like you're loud and overbearing. So
somebody said that to you.
Somebody said that to me. So I'm trying to what?
Oh snap!
Ooh, snap! Yeah. So I try, I can't really keep my voice down while
That's just the way you are.
It's hard for me to talk and focus on
To
like.
be frank, I'm glad it was said to you and not me, because I'm usually the one that's told that I'm being obnoxiously loud.
Well, I've definitely heard before that I have a loud voice, but that's a hard piece of feedback to do anything with, because it's like, I guess I could talk more like this, but then it feels a little
that's not
creepy
you.
and weird, and it's not
I like
natural.
you just the way you are, Lon.
Oh, thank you, Alana. That's very nice.
Aw.
Aww. So let's move on. We do one
This week on a very special.
special this week in Twitter. Lon lowers his voice. You know what I sound like is, I don't know if you guys know that Saturday Night Live bit that Will Forte does, Tim Calhoun. But I feel like I talk like, I'm Tim Calhoun, and I'm running for president. I feel like that's how I talk if I try to lower my voice unnaturally. And I do this like,
with the thumb.
Vote for me, and I have lots of, anyway. We do a little game here at the end of the show called Celebritweets. I think we have a graphic for it.
Celebritweets!
Celebritweets.
I like that because it fits so well with the rest of the music on the show all of a sudden. So I had two celebrities, but I'll be perfectly honest, we can't do the second one because it's Justin Bieber, and we already talked about him.
Yeah,
we
you know,
totally
he gets
ruined
enough
it.
play.
And he gets enough play. But I have to say, before we go into it, Justin Bieber has the creepiest @replies. Like, don't ever look up search on Twitter.com. To explain the game to you, Seth, and anybody watching for the first time, what we do is I look at @replies that are being received by different celebrity accounts. I will read the @replies, and then you have to guess who the celebrity is they were sent to. So I was doing that for Justin Bieber, but every single one is like, I can't believe how far you've come. I'm so proud of you. You're such an inspiration. I can love you. It hurts when I tweet every day and every time for you, but you don't notice me. My mom took my phone, so I can't get on Twitter. But if you followed me, I tweet you daily. And it's just like, every single one is like 12-year-old girls are total psychos. Every single one is like super creepy. Like, I love you, Justin. And all their usernames, too, are like Bieber fan faux life or whatever. Like, it's really disturbing. So anyway, we'll skip that. But I do have one other. So I'm going to read. These are @replies that were sent to a celebrity.
Diddy.
No, I used Diddy like a couple weeks ago. And you have to guess what celebrity this is on Twitter. I wish I could be at the show, but it's sold out so quickly. That's number one. That's from Gotitas de Agua. Number two, why are you so epic, and how can I be that epic as well? I need a beard, don't I? And that's @ROF Lindsay. These are not sent to me.
A beard or a beer?
Beard. B-E-A-R-D.
Like you have.
Like me. But these were not, I swear I'm not the celebrity because I'm not a celebrity. Never thought a ginger could be sexy, but he's all manly instead of his normal girly self. That's from @LaceyPowers. Any guesses? No?
I mean, redhead with a beard.
The guy with the long hair and blonde hair on American Idol. Casey.
That's a great guess, actually, but no, that's not. That's not it. Here we go. Last one. Maybe this one will help you guys. That pic makes you slightly resemble Abe Lincoln. Forget about TV. Go directly for public service. Run for office. And that's from
Manny Pacquiao.
Another great guess, but no.
TV sold out.
No guesses. Do we have any in the chat room? Selling out live shows.
Selling out live shows, but
selling out live shows, doing TV.
with a redheaded beard.
Redhead.
Did
no?
Carrot Top grow
I
a
feel
beard?
like this is kind of obvious now.
Tony Danza.
No. All right. Conan O'Brien, everybody. Conan O'Brien.
Beard through me.
He's got a beard now because he's not on TV anymore.
Oh, he's going to be on TNT, I thought.
If you get on TV, will you shave your beard?
He's going to be back on his show on TBS, but now he's doing that live tour around the country. Tragically, I was supposed to go see him at the Gibson Amphitheater on Saturday, but can't with the foot. Can't get into the Gibson Amphitheater with the foot, so I gave away.
It'll be okay.
To give you
Don't worry
handicap
about
access.
that.
I gave my ticket away. I don't think I can make it, so tragedy.
Dear.
I'm devastated because you know it's going to be a great show. Anyway.
Maybe.
So that was our little game. Anything else for Seth Harwood before we go? Anything else to discuss? No.
I was gonna mention one last thing.
One last thing for Mike Bracco.
Twit. I just put it in the chat the chat here.
Twit, a fine show.
Not Twit.
Fine show.
Not Twit. Where was it?
We're a bunch of twits on this show.
A fine show.
TwitAlert.com.
TwitAlert.
Seth mentioned monitoring people that mentioned his name in his book. It's a really just easy, quick tool to mention or to track keywords.
Don't want to save this for a later show? Not afraid?
I throw it out here. I throw it out.
Afraid? Okay.
A little bonus.
That's bits of
A
information.
little bonus.
A little bonus information at the end. I like it. I'm trying to...
Can I like plug some stuff here?
Yeah, well, no, we'll definitely, when we wrap up, we will give you the chance to go through...
TWiLERT.com.
TWI...
What? Oh, Twit alert. Is there also a way to do that with... I feel like for some reason in my Google alerts, I've started popping up tweets as well.
TWiLERT.
TWiLERT. Twilert.
Twilert. Just a bonus here at the end.
I'm trying to pull it up right now. Twilert. That's an interesting...
And what does this do again?
It's just for monitoring @replies, keywords.
Free web app
tool.
enables you to receive regular email updates of tweets containing your brand, product, service, or any keyword that you like.
There's tons of these, but
I will say yesterday, actually, for work with a client, one of the promotions that we're doing is involving a hashtag, and I wanted to you know, see exactly how many times this hashtag has been tweeted, and I used my Twitter stream as a resource, which I love to do, and if you build up a great network, you can. And I ended up getting from Karen Hartline a great suggestion for Twapper Keeper. Twapper Keeper, which I love that because as a child of the 80s,
Yes.
Twapper Keepers, I'm all about that. But
Does this have Saved by the Bell on the cover as well?
It doesn't.
No.
It doesn't. They should make the aesthetic of the site.
I mean, if you're going to play on the Trapper
that would
Keeper
be great.
motif,
But what you can do is actually type in a hashtag or an a person's @ replies or whatever, and it'll keep a journal of it for you, and it won't. You know how Twitter gets rid of the old tweets, it'll actually archive all that for you.
Cool.
So I found that to be a useful tool that seems similar, and it was easy to set up in like 2 seconds.
Twapper Keeper.
Twapper Keeper.
So, Seth, where should people go? How should they find you? Oh, you're gone.
I'm here.
It's your time. It's your time to shine.
Oh, I'm back.
So where do people go if they want to read the new book or if they want to catch up with all the books you've already written and listen to them or read them?
Well, they should go to podiobooks.com, iTunes. You can search for Seth Harwood. I have a brand new iPhone app that just came out. And you should go to SethHarwood.com, where on May 5th, Cinco de Junius, we're going to be launching the pre-orders of the new book, Young Junius, which is going to be really awesome. Look for it on the tweet stream. Pop some avatars onto your thing. And, it's going to be great. And also, Jack Wakes Up is the book that came out last May.
Right.
You can find that in bookstores everywhere.
And that's the one that started the Jack Palm series. There's a couple books with that character, right?
Exactly. We have Jack Wakes Up is on the podcast. Also, Jack Palms 2, This Is Life, and Jack Palms 3, Checkmate.
Nice. Is there any talk of film? I know it's got. I haven't read the book, but I read the sort of the log line, and it's got a very cinematic kind of feel. Any thoughts about a movie version?
I'm talking to my people down there in L.A. Last time I was in L.A., I had a little meeting at one of those hotel bars that was kind of cool.
Right. Yeah.
And other than that, can't say too much. I got to keep my lips sealed.
Don't.
But I'm working on it. We're trying to make things happen.
Who would play Jack Palms in the movie?
Me, obviously.
Oh, clearly. Silly to even ask.
Robert De Niro.
So thank you very much to Seth Harwood, author. Check out Young Junius.
Junius.
I don't know why I can't say that. Check out Young Junius.
Like
Check out SethHarwood.com. Thanks to Alana Joy, my wonderful co-host. Thanks to Mike Bracco, our delightful newsman, as always. I'm Lon Harris. We'll see you next time on This Week in Twitter.